Welcome back to the Bass Capital Radio podcast. Today I am here with Mr. Wes Register from Paper City Hustlers. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
If you haven't had a chance, which I think most of you have, whether you've been at the brewery or out at Crystal Cove, you've been playing music for Putnam County and areas around Putnam County for a long time.
Yep, a lot of my life.
Well, I want to first talk about, because it's like the rule of being on the podcast, how you got to Putnam County.
Well, I was born in Daytona, and my parents were there when I was initially born, but they moved to Putnam right after I was born. So we've been in this county my whole life.
Well, then you're tried and true Putnam County resident. Everybody says, well, I haven't been here. I got here when I was 2. No, you've been here your whole life. You don't remember that.
Well, I moved to St. Augustine, I want to say, we've been there for 15 years now. So I've been out of the county in my adult life for quite some time, but all my childhood grew up here.
I will forgive you for that because you still come back and play for
I
us.
do. I love it here.
Did you go to high school here?
I did. Graduated Putnam Palatka High School, 98,
nice.
Class of 98.
And was your trajectory always music? Was that always a part of your life?
Later, through high school, yes. In high school, I discovered that I had a passion for it, and wanted to follow through with it. So,
how'd you get introduced to it?
a cousin of mine in town started to introduce me to music, and then also in the church we went to is Penile Baptist, and
Okay.
we played in a Christian band out there, and then
Nice.
and then went on to be in a band with my brother soon after that. And my brother and I learned music and played music together for quite some time in that period. And yeah, it was great, and loved it. Loved every part of playing music, the people you meet and the people you play for. So yeah.
Now, was your family like at my house, if you come in at any given time, there will be some kind of noise in the background, generally music. It could be from any era, who knows, and we get on different kicks. Everybody takes turns, picking whatever they want to play. So is that something that you had in your household?
My mom loved music. She would listen to dance music from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially while cleaning, I'm sure.
And my dad, though, would take me to school every day, and we listened to country.
Yeah. So a little bit of a different mix there.
Yes, and I remember that, and now I've gone back to listening to those old country songs that we used to listen to on the way to school. So it's really cool. I could see how that made an imprint on me at an early age.
Yeah, my youngest is obsessed. She's actually she's 12, and she really likes to find different music. So she comes home all the time with let me show you a song I found. But going to school, she always wants to play music. If she gets in the car, the door doesn't shut before she's like, "Will you turn something on?" So I really do think subconsciously, when you're connected like that to music, it does make an impression.
I feel like my kids are the same as yours, sounding like that when you get in the car, or maybe they just don't like the music I choose. But I'm hoping that their music taste changes a little bit, because what they request isn't quite what I want to listen to at the time.
That's funny you say that. We were having that conversation the other day. So I will say that my kids, in high school, Black Eyed Peas was super popular. And so when the kids were little, we would play that. And they always enjoyed it. They're not as big of a fan of my rock music or heavy metal or anything that, which I respect that. But the newer music that they enjoy, I'm like, I don't know what he just said. But then I listen to some of my music, and I'm like, they probably don't know what he just said either. I wonder if that's a requirement as a parent, where you just have to be like, what are these kids playing on the radio now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it's hard to adjust to new music, even as a musician, because they say that the brain quits wanting to learn or like newer music after the age of 33. And that was a few years ago for me.
Is that facts?
But there's
there's
a study. A study, yes, that shows that after that the brain develops to this certain point to where it's like after 33, you really aren't coming to love new music that you hear.
That's interesting.
Or new styles, maybe, but yeah.
Huh. I want to go watch that study. There are some things like newer music that I have always loved music. One of my younger daughters, her name is Lyric.
Nice.
Super love music.
Awesome.
And there are some things that are newer, but I feel like they're probably in that same genre area where like some of the newer styles of music, I'm not a fan of, so I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to say 33 was just the other day, but I would be lying. Anyway, so you and your brother both have an interest in music?
Absolutely, and he still plays some as a hobby, and well, he plays at the Shores Golf Course once or twice a month still. He stays pretty busy as a real estate agent, or they build houses, I'm sorry, not real estate agent.
So builder by day,
Builder by
musician
day,
night.
yes, he has a big passion for it like I do. And we played together in a band called N8 in town here. We used to play at Steamboat Willie's for Johnny's parents years ago. I mean, I played there. That was my high school job. Like when I was like in
That's awesome.
junior and senior years of high school, I would play there on the weekends.
That's like the movie dream. We're like, oh, it's the musician in high school. He's playing at the local bar. I mean, everybody gets their start, and usually locally, hanging out. Some people just sit on the corner and play with their guitar boxes open or whatever that is.
Yeah.
For them.
Absolutely.
So. Now, what was the first instrument you picked up?
It was guitar. Of course, I always loved to sing. Singing was good, and in high school, I will say that we had a music teacher there, Mr. Hunt. I believe he's in Tennessee now, but everyone remembers Mr. Hunt from Palatka High, and he was the choral director, and he also started teaching some music theory classes. And in high school, well, he came out to watch our Christian band play one time, and he saw that I sang, and so the next week in high school, he comes up to me and says, "Oh, you're joining the chorus. Like next year, you're in chorus." And then, fortunately, he provided that music theory class, so we started that music theory class as well. So I had in high school, like while I was playing gigs on the weekends, for half of my day, I was in music classes at high school, which was awesome for the high school to provide something like that.
Right.
And he was an inspiring teacher, so it was really cool. But vocals were kind of first because I always sang, and then I started playing guitar.
I always I want to be able to sing.
Yeah.
That would be a dream, but I have not been gifted with that. I love playing piano, like any instrument I can get my hand on. Have you tried other instruments outside of guitar?
Sure. We played piano, like the music theory classes, we were doing compositions, 4-part compositions on piano and stuff, and I could play a little bit of that, play a little bit of bass guitar, play very little bit of drums, but other than that, no wind instruments or anything like that. So
that's where my gift is.
Oh, yeah?
Surprise, surprise. So I played trumpet in high school, and that's that wind powerhouse. I think that the music theory really does take that passion of music and puts a foundation behind it. So when you were going through the classes in school, did you intend on I want to do music as a career going forward, or was it more of a hobby?
Not necessarily. I just enjoyed doing it and then found a way to make money at it. So it was like, okay, I don't really think it really stuck that I could do it, for a full-time job until I went, a couple friends of ours and my brother went out to Lake Tahoe first it was Utah. Mm-hmm. For a winter, and then we would work the mountain, and some of us were ski instructors, some of us worked in the restaurants, but then I started playing in the pubs on the weekends and
Mm-hmm.
noticed that, this job pays a lot more than all the other ones, and it's a lot more fun to do.
Right.
So I went back a few years, working seasonally out there, and that's when I realized, okay, well, if I'm smart about it, then maybe I can do what I enjoy doing for a living, and because I see there's a place for it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be really tough out there. A lot of people have the gift of music. Especially with the exposure of, TikTok, YouTube, and anybody could just put themselves out there. But
Sure.
To be able to make it a career, has that? You obviously did it later on, but was that something that let me go back because I have to collect my thoughts. So obviously anybody can put themselves out there and expose people to their music, but being able to truly do it full time is probably a struggle for a lot,
Well, there's a lot of different aspects to the job. You're your own manager. You have to go out there and promote yourself.
Right.
Have to make yourself relevant. You have to make new connections. I'm pretty good at it because I like to go out and support all the other musicians, like I do. I mean, I enjoy going out and listening to music. I've made a lot of great friends through it all, and you have to be out there and stay connected with the community. And there's definitely just a place for it. Music is just needed in society, so it's like I want to be part of doing that and making and cheering people up and making life a little easier to get through, because life's not easy, So,
no.
And with music, I feel that music really is healing and it helps people through.
It always blows my mind when somebody says they don't listen to music. Like don't at all ever have music on.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure they sit outside and listen to the birds, or something, and that
is a good point. That's bird music.
I just came. I was just in the mountains for a week, and it's so quiet up in the mountains where we stayed. And at night, when the sun would go down, I'd sit outside and didn't need any music because nature made the music. It was great.
That I didn't even put that together, but that's very valid. You think about things in a different perspective. So going back to, you get out of high school, obviously playing in the local areas. What did you plan on doing?
Good question. I don't know. I'm not sure what the high school me thought about back then, but it was always music, because out of high school, when we were doing that, a buddy of mine, Dave Malash, moved over to, he's a local Putnam County resident that went to Palatka High and graduated with me. He went over to Gainesville to college, and he started a production company and music studio over there, Medusa at the time. And I went over there and was a part of that for a while, and just knew that I wanted to do music, so I kind of followed my buddy over there and helped him out, and we did that for a year or two, or I did at least, and he kept going, and just kind of keep stepping like that. Not exactly sure where it's going to land or have a goal to where it's going to go. I don't know. With music, it's always kind of about improvising. So I guess I approach that in life sometimes too, and kind of spontaneously make the next move to what feels right.
Yeah.
It's
funny because I've talked to other musicians, and I really feel like it's kind of like a feeling that everybody has, generally speaking. Doesn't matter what the side parts were. Maybe you, like you said, ski instructor, or maybe you did construction, or maybe you had an office career, but music always was part of that path. And how did you end up with the Paper City Hustlers? How did that get started?
Well, we kind of started around after high school. We got together with all buddies from Palatka, and it being a paper mill town, that's what we coined it, Paper City. And we started playing a little bit back then before I went out to the mountains. And when I came back from the mountains, 25, 26, I can't remember exactly when, one of our buddies, the buddies band, had kind of fallen apart. I think Silver Lake Drive was pretty strong back then.
Okay.
And they were, and when I came back, I think a couple of them kind of went in different directions. And so the rhythm section, Ryan Leroy and John Mike, wanted to continue a band. So I got back with them, and then Jesse Cruz was with us at that time as well. But yeah, we started a band then, and doing some gigs around this area. And then we had some venues over in St. Augustine that we also did, and we enjoyed doing it and did it somewhat as a hobby then. I was doing the solo gigs still, but it seemed to stick, and we enjoyed doing it, and it sounded good, so we kept going.
I love the name Paper City Hustlers. It's a tribute to hometown.
Exactly.
So I didn't realize, I've seen you play a lot solo, but you've always kind of done that primarily, and then you have Paper City Hustlers.
Well, both, yes, as much like, and I sit in with other bands as well, but yes, whatever the bill calls for.
Whatever's needed.
Yeah.
Have music ability, will play. I use that term a lot on this podcast. Have something, will do. So I would say that being part of that network that you were talking about, going to see other bands is very similar to the professional field.
Sure.
That's how you stay connected. Did people just randomly call you up and say, hey, I need somebody to plug in there?
Fortunately, I do get calls quite a bit, and I think it's just because of networking and being around. And yes, that's what keeps me going. But also with social media, it really changed everything in my eyes for musicians, and probably a lot of different businesses, is that I can reach out and find work without having to really pay a cent for promotion or anything. So that obviously helps, and it keeps you in the public's eye. If you have enough followers to keep you relevant and keep you current with the needs and wants for music. So.
If you have not, I'm gonna leave the link below for your Facebook page. Speaking of social media, so as I was preparing for our interview today, just taking a look at, you guys have a cousin. You have a cousin who has filmed some videos, so you guys have some videos on YouTube.
Yes.
And I love that. I love a family that hypes you up. You've got an Instagram, and you've got your own page where people can book with Paper City Hustlers. I'll make sure that we'll leave all the links below, but the Facebook page, who you shared with me that somebody was doing the images, the graphics on there.
John Mike.
Yeah, 10 of 10. I love, I think there was a Christmas one where you guys were all on Santa's lap. I mean, it's just really good stuff. But, like I was saying before, with people being able to expose themselves to the whole world with music, it is a great resource.
Sure.
I can only imagine what it must have been like, pre-internet, trying to get out there, hustling CDs on the corner, or mixtapes, or whatever that is.
And maybe they made more money those days, because the Spotify, you don't really make a whole lot of money off of plays on Spotify and stuff like that. So
okay.
The industry definitely changed with the internet, like everything evolved, so
right.
it's definitely now more, if you go out to see a band and you're trying to support them the best way you could support them, and a lot of times it isn't even tickets to buy, because the bigger shows, they don't get paid much for even tickets, is their merch table. So anytime that you go see your favorite band, make sure you visit the merch table.
Well, that makes me feel less guilty for purchasing a $35 T-shirt, because for a long time I was like, not for me. But that makes sense.
Fun fact: who is it? Who does Run to the Hills? Iron Maiden. I went and watched Iron Maiden a couple years ago with a couple buddies of mine, and they, funny enough, I think they have made the record for making the most money off of their merchandise, and they're the cheapest shirt was like $55 or $60. And when you go to these shows, like we got to Tampa and we walked down the parking garage. I look back at my buddies and I said, hey man, there must be a band playing outside. There's a huge crowd. I know that was the line for T-shirts, and everyone's buying a T-shirt. And not only are they buying a T-shirt, they have a T-shirt on already that's Iron Maiden. And when they buy the T-shirt, they take that one off, they put the new one on, they walk the other one back to their car. I mean, these people are serious about Iron Maiden. You did a great job. They did a fantastic
Their fans
job.
are hardcore.
Well, they did a fantastic job at making that possible, because they're making some serious money off of it.
So maybe you can get connected with them and figure out how to Paper City hustle those shirts.
We need John Mike to make our T-shirts and put us on Santa Claus's lap, John Mike.
You guys don't have shirts?
We do not. We do not have merch. We need some merch.
Today is the benchmark. When you see this, John Mike, I guess you've been called out. We need Paper City Hustler shirts. I would rep one. I would support that.
He does an amazing job with it. He's very talented in that. So we are blessed to have him on board and always taking care of those kind of things. So very cool.
Well, I want to learn a little bit more about Paper City Hustlers, but I do want to talk a little bit about your music. We understand how you got where you're at. Who are some of your inspirations, though, musically?
I mean, it's hard to just name one, because I'm very versatile at the music that I play and listen to.
I saw on the website it was everything from Outkast to Johnny
Cash.
That is diverse.
yeah. So I mean, I loved Outkast. Later on, after high school, let's see, Sublime was a big one of my favorites back in the day. It's kind of hard. Lenny Kravitz, I loved Lenny's stuff. Lenny's inspirational. He recorded his whole album. He played all the instruments on it, so that was pretty. That like reached
Wow.
out to me, and he's very touching and soulful with it when he plays and what he does. I like that a lot. Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder.
The classics.
Yeah, some of the classic stuff. And
You got any underground bands that you haven't?
I mean, right now I love Goose. Goose is one of my favorite bands right now. Billy Strings is I love listening to bluegrass, and he's like turning bluegrass. I mean, I don't want to say mainstream, but he's just opening up the doors to the traditional bluegrass sound.
Billy Strings, that name.
Yeah, he sells out at the amphitheater 3 nights in a row every year, and it sells out within like minutes.
Wow.
And and he has like a cult following that, back in the Grateful Dead days, they had all these vendors that would follow them on tour, and he has the same thing. So it's like in the park.
To sell out in 3 minutes, you'd have to have that.
And that's
kind of
you're
following.
talking 15,000 tickets. So I mean, it's pretty
Dang.
it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. Definitely check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sure to leave links because we always want to appreciate people who inspire us. I'll make sure I leave those links below just to see what that's about. I'd like to know how all of you guys ended up deciding what kind of music you would play. Did you take a vote? Is what sounded good together?
There's not like a equation to it. I think there's a pattern of trying to find those tunes that people kind of forgot about, that like when you hear it, it kind of hits, and then stuff that kind of fits my register and our for singing it, and if we enjoy playing it. We like to listen to the crowd sometimes and say, hey, what would you like to hear us play? Because that's, we have a lot of faithful fans, especially we play Conch House quite a bit over in St. Augustine, and we have like their every Friday afternoon happy hour crowd loves us. And so we, want to cater to them some, if that's a beautiful place to play. And but yeah, there's no real equation to it.
Well, you just did an appreciation post for one of your faithful followers, I saw.
On
Facebook.
I believe that was so Conch House just had their beverage manager that's a close friend of ours that he booked us there forever. He just recently switched careers and left Conch House, which he'd been there for over 10 years.
Wow.
And so I think that's what you're speaking of. But
Okay.
Yeah. And he's amazing. He actually is a luthier, so he does all of my guitar work. He does all the other people's guitar works that I know that he works. That a luthier builds guitars.
I learned something new, actually. I mean, I figured out what you were talking about, but
Yeah.
I did not know. That's a cool term.
Yep. And he actually, I called him on the way here. I got a new acoustic. I said, hey, man, can you set it up for him? But amazing person. I like to go to concerts with him and stuff. And that's another thing. That's what's great about playing music is you gain these relationships with these people that are great. I have a lot of friends, and it's because of playing music. And I try not to ever take that for granted, because it's a special thing to be able to do, because I'm encountering people, and at work it's a positive and fun and good thing. There's so many jobs out there. I mean, all of our essential workers that we saw through the pandemic, and all these people that really work their butts off in crazy situations and not so positive, especially doctors and stuff. And
Right.
so I feel very blessed to be able to do something I love and that's positive.
Oh, for sure. And it speaks all languages. I've interviewed another musician out of St. Augustine that you're familiar with, Cholula, or Chase with Cholula. And, we talked about that. I have been at concerts, and total strangers feel like best friends, so
Yeah.
it creates this atmosphere of connectedness. And you don't have to know the words to get the vibe or the feeling from it. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I can't imagine being able to do that full time. Like, just bring joy.
It's funny you say words when you talk about music. Well, the band that I'm following right now, Goose, I mean, they sing a little bit, but like each song's like 30 minutes long. So
That's like Rush.
they don't sing a whole lot, but there's a lot of music that happens and beautiful moments, So like
30 minute song.
Yeah, I play it at.
It's longer than a dang T-bone.
When I go to the
so-
jukebox, I get my money's worth for
Right.
that song.
That's a good one. So Paper City Hustlers, do you guys have any albums out or on Spotify?
We don't. I have a song. We did one song that I wrote many moons ago, and
Snap, an original, y'all.
yeah, that we did release a couple years ago on Spotify, and you can find it. It's about Anastasia Island, kind of and beachy vibe. And we have some other ones that we plan on recording soon. See, our original drummer, Ryan Leroy, he left the band because he is, chasing his dream of being a sound engineer with a recording studio. So he has a fantastic, enormous recording studio out in Elkton called NFS Ranch.
I've heard of that. I want to go see that.
And that's where we record stuff,
Yeah.
and we do quite a few projects out there. So in the future, stay tuned. We definitely will have some more music coming out.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, and we're stoked for Leroy, and we still work with him quite a bit. He still plays with us for the big festivals and weddings and stuff. He was just with us for Blue Crab. He played with us for that and Azalea. So he's still in the mix, but he's just, he has his hands full over there.
Right.
He has recordings. He has a live venue in the back of it that's amazing. It holds like 1,000 people. It's exciting. It's good. There's gonna be some really cool things to see out there.
And you'll keep us plugged in, right?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
So you just mentioned you played weddings. What other venues do you guys play in? Let's talk Putnam County. Where do you guys play around here?
Putnam County. Well, we really haven't played in Putnam County in a while. Most of the times when we come to Putnam now is for festivals and weddings and private parties.
We need to fix that, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, for there's not really any venues that are doing live bands, and well, I guess you can consider, if you go down to Palatka, you have Renegades
Right.
and the Log Cabin that are doing live bands. Johnny at Steamboats will do live bands every now and again.
Yeah, I saw one of my favorite local bands to St. Augustine. Well, I guess they're either out of St. Augustine or Jacksonville, Blister, play, which was, I saw them in St. Augustine only, but they were playing over at Steamboats during the Blue Crab Festival.
Yeah, I love Blister.
Yeah.
Chris and the guys are great. They're phenomenal. They're fun, and they're a power trio like Paper City Hustlers. Like they do it all just with 3, and it's super impressive. But yeah, I hope that it calls for more live bands in Putnam County here in the future. There's a lot of growth going on, so I'm excited about it, especially down here by the water. As I said, we used to play Steamboats every weekend. There's live bands at Steamboats. Of course, then when I was in high school, we didn't start till 11:30 at night.
Right.
And it went till 3:30 in the morning.
That's my bedtime. That's not my bedtime. I will stay out late for a good band.
Yeah.
I really am excited about the growth in Putnam County, and it's incredible to have. Again, I forgive you for moving on. I do appreciate you guys coming back, and the fact that you formed your group here, and that your roots are here. And I mean, you personally play other places here locally, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm playing today at Corky Bells. I play for their bass tournaments every other week, and I've been playing for Corky for at least 25 years, I think.
I did a stint serving there and would watch you, because I always served outside and I would watch you play. So
awesome! Yeah,
you packed that deck too.
Great family. But yeah, in town also play for the Azalea City Brewery, and then I've played at Uncorked and Unwind before over here. There's a new place out by the old Corky Bells now that has music that's going to start music again. It's changed hands a few times. And then also Leo's has music all the time.
Yep.
I haven't had a chance to go in and play for Leo, but I frequent there when I come to town because he has great sushi.
Yeah, that's how my husband and I met.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so, it's always incredible to know that you can chase that dream. I think that watching somebody who is born raised here, born and raised here, that's what we're going to go with, who was raised here and developed their music career here, and now being able to go out and play different places, and to see that that is attainable, really is very special. But I'm looking forward to the merch table that you're going to bring next time.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
And
we'll get on that.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I get the notification for the shirt. But please keep us updated on all that you've got going on, whether it be out in Elkton or, again, the merch. And I'll be checking out the Spotify song. But we'll leave all the links if you're interested in listening to what you guys do or booking. Again, I have loved watching y'all play. I've loved listening to you play. Took my best friend to watch you play over at the brewery. So it's always a great experience. But thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Be sure you check out the links below, and y'all have a good one. Thanks for joining.